All right, so we're gonna do the homework review first. Number 15 here. So for all values of x, these are true. Okay, and 4a plus 6b is equal to 12. What's the value of c? So then, let's try to look at this one, guys. I mean, numbers are a little bit big, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide everything by 2. Is it okay? So I get 2a plus 3b has to be equal to 6. Are you guys good so far? But not only that, what do you realize about AB? Ah, I'm thinking targeted multiplication here, isn't it? So when you multiply A times B, what do you guys get? It has to be equal to 6. Is that clear, guys? A times B has to be equal to 6. Now, then once we get this one, what do we realize, guys? Okay, I'm looking for two numbers multiplied to, whatchamacallit, I feel like there may be a mistake on the question, actually. We'll see about that. So two numbers multiplied to be 6, but 2 times of that and then 3 times of that has to be equal to 6 as well. All right. Can you give me 1 second here? I think the typo is, okay. All right. Can you guys help me with one thing here? Because I don't have the answer with me. Did the answer key say C by any chance? What did the answer key say?
RG.
Huh?
RG.
The answer key says D? That's what answer key said? Okay, interesting. Okay. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just press on with this idea. Is that clear, guys? I'm going to press on with this idea, and then after that, maybe there is a something there which we can see, because when you look at it, if I have what options are 1 and 6 or 2 and 3 or 3 and 2, and then what do I get? The last one is 6 and 1. So any combination that you use, none of them will get you 6. So in case of actual college board question, what would have happened is this. It would have been equal to, oh, wait a minute, guys. One of these numbers would have worked. But the thing is this. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. How do you get C, guys? So chances are that A and B are individually are not an integer. It can be a fraction. Now it's going to be a somewhat ugly number. But wait a minute. What did I say about the middle number? How can you get the middle C value? Ah, that's inner and outer, isn't it? So what's the inner? 2A. What's the outer? Oh, plus 3B. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's exactly the same thing as this one. It must be 6. So therefore, the answer must be equal to 6. Is that clear, guys? Now, just want to give you one thing here, is that if you have to be actual college board question, they would have used a number that you can actually extract. Do you see what I'm saying, guys? And then satisfies the equation. So A and B, chances are you'll be an integer. But in this case, they will solely focused on outer times inner being equal to the middle term. That was the focus of this particular practice question. But so we got the answer rather quickly. While we got the answer rather quickly, but yes, still I want you to remember that if this one were to be the actual college board question, A and B would have been the numbers that which you can imagine, either 1, 6 or 2, 3, or the other way around. Is that clear, guys? Yeah. So we got the answer 6, which is rather simple, but in college board question, it would have been otherwise. All right, so that was number 15, guys. Number 19. All righty, here it goes. Oops. So number 19, infinitely many solutions. How could it be infinitely many solutions, guys? Then, in this case, the ratio of the x coefficients of x's and y's and the constants, they all have to be equal, meaning a over 3 is equal to b over 2, which is equal to 16 over 64. That's the relationship that we get to realize. All right, now, but in this case, when I simplify these two, I realize that that's equal to 1/4, right, divided by 16. Then you can easily see that, hey, I can set up these two. A over 3 is equal to 1/4. What's A, guys? A is equal to 3/4. Now I can set up another proportion out of these two, so we get B over 2 is equal to 1/4. What is B equal to? 1/2. So therefore, you want me to multiply those two things? Okay. What is A times B? When you multiply these two fractions, we get 3 over 8. That's what you could have done. How about that, guys? Is it okay? So that's the idea that they wanted you to do. So this actually practice exam is from another publisher, and then I guess they try to model it after the college board questions, but they up the level just a little bit, slightly, you know. But it still has the nice concept embedded in it, so it's going to be a good practice. All right, let's move on to the next question. Number 20. All right, so this is what we have here. So the angle theta is for on the unit circle, guys. When they say unit circle, what I need you guys to realize is this. I know that many of you guys might have learned it already. The value x and y coordinates, right, can be expressed as cosine of the angle, comma sine of the angle. In other words, x value is equal to cosine of theta, and y value is equal to sine of the value. But what did I say, guys? Only in the unit circle context, not any other. So then, okay, if that's the case, what do you realize, guys? Radical 2 over 2, radical 2 over 2. We have to remember these guys because what's the, and then we're looking for the radian meters, right? In order for us to solve this question, we should have memorized that cosine of pi over 4 is equal to radical 2 over 2. Right? That's assumed. To make sure that you guys understand the entire chart, entire table, I'm going to give you the table right away, quickly. So I need you guys to write them down here, even if you know. Sine, cosine, tangent, angle 0, pi over 6, pi over 4, pi over 3, and pi over 2. And then sine is what? 0, 1/2, radical 2 over 2, and radical 3 over 2, and then 1. Cosine is 1, radical 3 over 2, radical 2 over 2, and the 1/2, and then 0. Tangent is a 0, radical 3 over 3, oops, 1, radical 3, and then undefined. So you should memorize these things. There's no way out, okay? You have to memorize them. So once you get that, then you get to realize that, cosine of an angle is negative, but the value is radical 2 over 2. Then that tells you that, reference angle that you see here would have been equal to pi over 4. Now, here as well, sine of pi over 4 would have been equal to radical 2 over 2 as well. That confirms our original assumption here, that the reference angle is pi over 4. Since it's on the third quadrant, what do you guys realize? In order for you to get this angle done, what we actually have to do is, we came all the way to pi here, so pi plus pi over 4 would have been our actual angle, theta. So we get 5 pi over 4. So I'm going to compare 5 pi over 4 and then 10 pi over a. What do you realize, guys? 5 pi over 4 is in fact equal to 10 pi over 8. So 8 must be equal to a. That's why the answer is 8. How about that, guys? Okay? So basically, that's what we can do. And then in this question, I understand the number 20 is like the borderline between as regular SAT question and then subject test, even though it has been canceled, at least for now, right? Yeah. By the way, can I just share one thing here, guys? In this group, I know that some of you guys actually have some of you guys are pretty strong in math. Some of you guys, just doing, catching, I mean, just, doing well in your school, but some of you guys wants to show off a little bit how good you can be in math for college, not in a bad way, but it's just in college, right? Now, one thing that I told my students at school uh, is that in that class, we have many students who will be getting 800 on the SATs or 36 on the like more than half. Bunch of them will be getting 800, right? That kind of class. Now, what I told them was, hey, all of them would have taken a subject test, SAT subject test. They would have taken that, and then show that college that, hey, you know what, I can do well even on the subject test, not only in SAT but on the subject test as well. So my level of math is pretty high, but that has been canceled. So guess what I recommended them to do? To take AMC, American Mathematics Competition. It's coming up this coming week, actually Thursday or so. Now, if you guys are interested in taking, you can of course talk to your teachers at school, and then if you get a pretty good score on AMC, then that can be a strong argument for your application, saying that, hey, I'm pretty good at math, I'm decent, please accept me, right? Either that, what you call it. But the thing is, what if you don't do well because you didn't get to prepare that much? That's fine. You don't have to let colleges know that you have taken it. It's all by the it's up to you whether So if you do it well, if you take the exam and then you do well, let the school know. If you took it and if you're not doing well, then just let it go. It's fine. Good experience. But I just want to let you know that now the subject test for math has been canceled officially, at least for now. The emphasis is on regular SAT, which you guys are doing. You really want to get as high grade as possible. And also, if you want to have something else to supplement your application, something that which you guys can think about is AMC. Okay, it's American Mathematics Competition. You can ask your teachers about it. All right, it's coming up this week. But anyways, any other questions that you want us to look at from this exam practice? You guys good? All right. Okay. All right, guys. Then let's move on to the next homework, which was homework number 1. That was a topical practice. I know that I have gone over a few questions from there. Topical questions such as probability and then statistics 1, right? Those are the two things that I ask you guys to finish. I want you to look at the probability and then see if you have any question or questions that you want us to look at. So right now I'm looking at our Google Classroom from last week, and I'm looking at homework number 1, and then I'm looking at the probability first. Okay. Any particular question or questions you want us to look at? Okay, I have a request on number 12. Very nice. Any other questions that you want us to look at, guys? Shoot it over to me. All right, then I'm gonna go over that one first, and then if you have any others, you let us know. All right, guys. So this is what we have. Let's try to read it and then see what's going on here. So number of soil samples and then percent of samples with chemical A. Okay, and then area A and area B and then so forth and so on here. The data above were produced by the ecologists. who collected soil samples from two areas to determine whether they were contaminated with chemical A. So their concern is chemical A. Based upon the table, what proportion of the soil samples were contaminated with chemical A? Now, what proportion of the soil samples? Then what are we looking at? Did they specify A or B? No, they didn't. So therefore, I'm going to be looking at entire thing here, guys. Is that clear, guys? Entire thing here. So then when I look at entire values, what do I get, guys? It becomes 1,000. Then how many samples were actually contaminated? I'm not going to just add an 8 and 6. What does it mean by 8% out of 450? I'm going to calculate that. Then I'm going to say 0.08 times 450. It gets me 36. So I actually had 36 samples from area 1, or area A, that was contaminated. And the second one, 0.06 times 550, which is 33. So in fact, when I combine them together, I get actually 69. So 69 samples out of 1,000, hence 0.069, which is choice B becomes the answer. That's how we can do it. As I mentioned last week, in terms of probability, reading data, those very, very heavily based on your reading. Okay, once again, the reading, we're not talking about your reading ability in English classes. Okay, it is so common that somebody can be amazing at English reading, but horrible in mathematical context reading. You know, because in mathematics, every word is very, very important. And then by principle, in mathematical writing, we don't repeat the words a lot. But in regular literatures, don't they repeat many words? Like they're trying to describe one context, but they use one word and another word to describe the same thing over and over again. But in math, they don't. So you have to read every word carefully. That's the bottom line. All right? All right. Now, then, since we have done that one, let's go for another one, which was reading data, right? I'm looking at homework number 1, but reading data section. Any particular questions from that homework, reading data? Anybody? Shoot me a, a little comment. Okay. I have a request for number 15. If you have any other questions, let me know, please. All right. So I'm going to go over number 15 here. All right. So here we have the question, and then this is the data that was attached to it. So it says Greg ate breakfast at 8 a.m. and lunch at 12 p.m. During each meal, the doctors record his glucose level in the graph above, which is right over here, until they are able to calculate Greg's glucose recovery time. The time it takes for the body's glucose level to return to their recorded value at the start of the meal. So basically, at the start of the meal. Oh, I get. What does that mean? At the start of the meal, return. That means they have to have a same value, right? Same value. So basically, it means look at the time, guys. Time hours after 8 a.m. So that means 0 is 8 a.m. That's how you can read it. And it's a glucose level. And the glucose, when you look at the glucose level, what do you realize, guys? All the boxes by 10, but here to here is what? 110. So in fact, there is a break. Just wanted to let you know. Just be careful in terms of reading. That's all there is. Now, according to the graph, by how many hours is Greg's glucose recovery time after dinner greater than uh, his glucose recovery time after lunch? Actually, I think they might have just missaid it here. Meaning because 8 o'clock in the morning is the breakfast, and then 4 o'clock here, 4 hours after 8 p.m. That's the lunch. Okay, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's about it. And then I don't have any other information about dinner. So I think they probably made a mistake on the wording. So by how many hours is Greg's glucose recovery time after lunch greater than his recovery time after breakfast? That's basically uh, what they're assuming. So then in this case, if that were to be the case, if this one were to be the case, then we can read it off from the graphs here. So how long did it take for the breakfast? It took 1 hour, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. How about lunch? 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and then 4 hours. So obviously 4 hours is greater than 2.5 hours by 1.5. So that's basically what we can do. Okay? All right, guys. Now, so that's basically what would have happened. I think they made a typo on the. Sorry about that. Yeah, so no wonder you had a question about that question. Yeah. All right, guys. So now, any other questions that you guys might have? You guys all good? All right. Then we're gonna have a first practice first. Okay. Just like from the homework, our struggle was coming from the second half, meaning number 11 through 15, and then number 11 through 20. I remember the 16 through 20. So what we want to do is what you call it up. We want to try to practice on that a little bit. Okay, let's try to look at that together. So what I want you to do is, if you go to our Google Classroom, there is a practice section right over here, right? Go to today's date, practice. That's the exam, but we're gonna be looking at this one, guys. So I want you to do number 11 through 20. 10 questions. All right. I'm gonna get. This is no calculator. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna type it up over here. Since it's I'm gonna give you 13 minutes for you to do this one. All right. So get set, ready, go. All right, guys. I only got 4 submissions. How many of you guys need more time? A few minutes. Yeah, couple of you guys. Okay. Then I'm just gonna add 3 more minutes. Is that clear, guys? Just 3 more minutes. All right, guys. Wrap it up. Now I need everybody to submit yours. Whatever you guys have. That's perfectly fine. And then from here, uh, I'm sure you guys might have a question or two that you might want us to look at. Can you guys let me know which question you want us to look at, guys? Alrighty, guys. All right, I have a request on number 16. Okay, good, good, good. Number 14. All right. Some of you guys made a mistake, but you realized it right away. That's fine as well. So as of now, I'm gonna go with number 14 and number 16. Okay. Oh, number 12. Got it. 12, 14, and then 16. So let's look at the first question first. Number 12. M plus 6 is divided by 2 is 4 less than 4m. So now, in this case, we just have to be careful in terms of writing down the equation. M plus 6 divided by 2 is equal to 4 less than, that means minus 4, has to be at the end. 4 less than 4m. That's how we can set it up. What's the value of m, right? One of the common mistakes is people writing down as 4 minus 4m, but when in fact it has to be 4m minus 4. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to multiply everything by 2. So what I'm getting is m plus 6 is equal to, what do we get, guys? 8m minus 8, because I'm multiplying by 2. And then when I isolate them, I get 7m by subtracting m's together. By adding 8's together, I get 14. And m is equal to 2. Therefore, 2 becomes our answer. And my guess is our issue wasn't these calculations, but setting up, Don't forget, less than means this number has to go to the at the end. All right? Now, so that was number 12. Let's move on to number 14. Now, number 14, sine x and cosine y is equal to each other. Soon as you see this one, what I need you guys to do is this. In the SAT, there's a concept of cofunctions, right? You guys learned this one in geometry class, believe it or not. And then it says sine of A is in fact equal to cosine of 90 minus A. That's the idea that you guys learned. In other words, these two has to add to 90 degrees. That's what they're saying. Or pi over 2, if it's to be in radian measures, right? So in the equation above, x and y are measured in radians, okay? Which of the following could be the value, which of the following could be x in terms of y? And as I told you here, I can say x plus y has to be equal to pi over 2. What is x? X is what? Pi over 2 minus y. That's it. So we get choice A becomes the answer. Rather simple. But it's coming from the concept right over here, cofunction concept. Now, next question that was requested is number 16. So, battery A runs out of energy after 132 minutes. Battery B runs out of energy twice as fast. Okay. Twice as fast, then in fact this implies that we are looking at half of the time. So what's half of 132? That's 66. So battery runs out in 66 minutes. Battery C runs out in the end it's 3 times as fast as battery B. 3 times as fast. That means I need 3 of the battery C to last as long as. So then that means I'm going to just divide that by 3. So this one runs out in 22 minutes. If used all at a time, what is the total number of minutes that all 3 batteries can provide energy for? So basically what they're saying is they want you to add up these 3 values. That's it. So what do we end up getting, guys? 2 plus 2 plus 6 becomes 0. 1 goes up. 2 plus 6, which is 8, plus 3 becomes 11. And then here it goes, what, 12. Right, and then I have another 2. So 220. So 220 minutes. That becomes our answer. All right? Not bad, not bad. All right, guys. So that's basically what we have done here. And then, since there isn't any other questions, I'm going to move on to our topic today. Okay? Our topic is continuing into in the context of statistics. So in order for us to do the statistics, give me 1 second. All right, let me try to give you a few sample questions here first, and then see what happens, right? So how about here, guys? In the histogram above, and of course, in this case, calculators are allowed. What is the mean daily number for this case? Can you guys find it and then let me know? If you have an answer, let me know. Yeah, calculators are allowed, by the way. I mean, you don't have to have calculator, but calculators are allowed for this question. All right, guys. So in this case, one thing that which we're gonna do is this. We need to know how to do this one by hand and also with a calculator. Okay, we need to know both ways because uh, mostly these type of questions do come out on the uh, calculator section. Okay, but sometimes even on the calculator section, they can switch the orders around. In fact, and then get you something else. Watch what I'm saying. First of all, by hand, how do you calculate the average? We call this one, in fact, as a weighted average, by the way. You guys might have learned it when you're younger. Weighted average is found by, that's the sum, adding notation, sum of the value times the frequency, divided by total frequency. That's how you have to calculate that. So we're going to try to do this one by hand first, because just to understand what's going on, what I'm saying is this. They could have easily given you these kind of questions with, hey, they give you the missing information. They don't tell you how many it is, but they give you the weighted average, and then ask you how many, they want you to find the missing frequency or missing value. They could have done that. In order for you to understand those things, what you have to do is you need to know the concept first, not just plugging into calculator. So we're going to do both ways. So in this case, in case of 0, how many do I have? 0 is what? 5. How many 1s do I have? 35. How many 2s do I have? 15 of them. How many 3s do I have? 25. So therefore, my numerator for the weighted average becomes 0 times 5 plus 1 times 35 plus 2 times 15 plus 3 times 25, and divide the whole thing by 80, because 80 is total. So you could have done it this way. So let's try to do that with the calculator. See what you end up getting. So first one is a 0, second one is 35 plus 30 plus 75, and divide that by 80. So you get oops, I typed something wrong. It should be 30. Okay. 1.75. That's right. So you can do that by hand, right? But as you guys know, you can do this one using the calculator as well. So here, I'm gonna take out my calculator. I know that a bunch of you guys already did this one with the calculator as well, but I want you to take them out anyway. And then let's just go through them together. So what will I do? First, I have to go to stat. Go to stat and stat edit to get us the table of values. So I'm gonna clear this one. I'm gonna clear this one. So the values were 0, 1, 2, 3. Those are the values. So 0, 1, 2, 3. And then our frequency was 5, 35, 5, 35, 15, and then 25. Once I put them into the calculator in this way, I have to go for the stat, and this time I'm going to calculate, and one var stat. That's important. Even though I fill up the two columns, but I'm using one var stat because, as you can see, the second column is the frequency. Frequency is not another variable. In fact, it just describes how many of the first one I have. So it's still one variable stat. And press enter. And then in my case, list one is the value. That's the value. Frequency is the L2. That's how I set it up. But sometimes you might be thinking, hey, I don't have anything over here. Then how do you type it in? L2 is right over here, the blue letter L2. Do you see that, guys? That's a list 2. To get to that, blue one is using the second. Second, number 2. Hence, you can type in L2. L2 is your frequency list. And then I want you to calculate. There it goes, guys. Now, then this is the average. So we got that one done. Okay, great. Great. Now, next. Same context here, guys. Same context. Can you guys find the median? Part A is to find the average. Part B, part 2. Can you guys find the median? As soon as you have the value for median, you let me know. All right, good, good. All right. So once again, in case of the median as well, we're gonna try to do this one in two different ways. One, by hand, the other one using the calculator. Now, since we used the calculator already, let's continue with the calculator and see what happens. Do you guys remember this was what we end up getting before? If you're just going down a little bit, do you see med? Oops. Here, med is the median. And you can say it's 1.5. Now, but how about doing it by hand? How do you do it? When you have even number of uh, data, then it's got to be average of the middle two. Okay? Second, if I have odd number of data, then it's going to be just a middle number. But in this case, we have 40 number of data. So what are we going to do? We're going to get the middle, average of the middle. So what's the average? I mean, what are the two middle numbers? Since I have a 40 of them, 40th and then 41st. Those are the two middle numbers. Yes, of course, this number is divided by 80 divided by 2 becomes 40. So number 1 through 40 gets you 40 of them, and 41 through 80 gets you another 40 of them. So, but where's the 40th value? 40th value is right over here at the end, because I have 5 and 35. I have a 40th value is right over here. Now, second, then where's my 41st? 41st is the one right over here. The first value of the second half, which is 2. So, as I told you, I need you guys to get the average of the middle two. So I'm going to get the average of these two, 1 and 2, which is equal to what? 1.5. So you got the answer. You got the answer as well. Okay, not bad, not bad. That's basically what we can do. Now, how about the second one? So this one is describing the relationship between mean, median, and range. If you have an answer, let me know. Okay, good, good, good. Once again, it's not that difficult. We just have to be careful about it, right? Be careful. Do not assume anything particularly. Don't assume. I need you to have a concrete evidence. All right. Somebody changed that up. Very nice. Good changing. All right, guys. So let's try to look at this one. So I think many of you guys have an answer. Very nicely done. So the last number, this number is reduced. What does that mean? That means Obviously, range decreases right away because range would have been from 0 to the 6. Now it's 0 to the 3. Therefore, range decreased. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, that makes sense. Not that it's out, but that's true. That's good. Now, oh, wait a minute. So one of the biggest number was reduced. So therefore, median decreases. That makes sense. Usually that makes sense. But you know what? I need you to try. I need you to actually check it out. When I have 19th, when I have 19 values, where is my middle number? I'm going to take 1 out, then 18. I'm going to divide that by 2. So I get 9 and 9. Then that would be my median, meaning I'm looking at 10th. 10th value here. So where's my 10th value? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So up to here is, oh, this is my 10th value. That's equal to 1. What if I have, when I remove the highest one, then I have 18 values. Median of the 18 is average of 9th and 10th. But wait a minute, that's 10th value, that's 9th value. They're equal to each other, so even if I were to take the average, it would still be equal to 1. Median didn't change. Sorry. Second one is out. While it makes so much sense that median has to be decreased, but it didn't. How about mean? Yes, normally mean would have been somewhere in the middle here, but this high value being reduced, that means this value is bigger than the mean by far. So when that one is eliminated, then our mean will go down, right? It's almost like a hey, some of you guys just finished third quarter and stuff, and then hey, if you include this particular assignment that I got 100 on, then my average would be so much higher than before. But since my teacher is not including it, therefore my average went down. Same idea. This 6 would have increased the average by far, but when you don't include it, then my average will be down below, right? So that's also correct. 1 and 3. Therefore, choice C becomes the answer. Just seeing the relationship between mean, median, and range. Now, talking about the mean, how about this, guys? Let me know the answers. Okay, I have one answer. Very nice. In fact, that's correct as well. Good job. All right. I'm getting more answers correct. Very good. Very nice. Good job. Good job, you guys. So in this case, what we're going to be doing is this. Yes, yes. Good job, you guys. I need you guys to remember, whenever they say average, I want you to think about the sum. It may be very useful, it may not be, but many times it's quite related to the question itself. So average weight of the group of panda is 200. pounds. I don't know what the group is. I don't know how many, but they're 200 pounds. Another panda weighing 230 pounds joins the group, raising the average weight of the entire group to 205. Okay. Then how many pandas were in the original group? So this is a little bit difficult, it seems like. Let's think about it. But what did I say? Soon as you see the average, I need you to think about the sum. So average weight of group of panda is 200. So that means what's the sum? I'm going to say the group, I'm going to call that as x because I don't know how many we have. So sum will be in fact equal to 200 times x. Would you agree? Because after all, sum is found by average multiplied by number of data. That's how you can calculate it. All right? Now, then that's the sum originally. But what happened? Another panda came in, which is 230. Okay. Then plus 230, getting the new average to be 205. So that means, wait a minute, that's the old average, old sum. The new sum is equal to what? 205 is the average, but how many number of panda do we have? X plus 1 now, because we have one more panda than before. So then when you look at it, what do you guys realize? These two sums has to be equal to each other. From old sum plus 230, same thing as new average multiplied by the number of pandas. Then here what we end up getting is, hey, 200x plus 230 is equal to 205 x plus 205. Oops. Then what do you guys realize? I'm going to subtract 200x, so we get 5x. I'm going to subtract 205, and we get 25 left, and x equals what? 5. So once again, when they talk about the average, what do I want you to think about? I want you to think about the sum. It's a sum problem, essentially. All right? That's usually the key. Now, I have one more question that we want to look at here. How about that, guys? So once again, if you have an answer, you let me know. All right. I'm getting all different answers for this one. Good, good, good. All right, so I'm gonna jump in because this is I don't think you're not actually calculating much. By the way, you could calculate, but that's not what they want you to do, by the way. You see, when you first learned about the standard deviation at school, you might have been forced to calculate the standard deviation from using the calculator. Okay, but the thing is, from SAT, they want you to recognize standard deviation more than calculating it. Let me just give you a quick overview about the standard deviation here. What is a standard deviation? It's a measure, is a measure of spread of data. Meaning, higher standard deviation is more spread apart the data is from the mean. So, for example, I'm going to give you three pictures. You tell me which one has the highest standard deviation. Okay? So I'll say this is A, this is B, C. Which out of the three pictures has the highest standard deviation, and which one of the three has lowest standard deviation? Okay? So first group is, second group is, third group is, okay? Out of three, which one has the highest standard deviation? Can you tell me quickly? Which one has the highest standard deviation? Right? Meaning, what am I actually looking for? Which out of those three pictures are most spread apart? From where? From the mean. Most spread apart from the mean, right? And yes, as many of you guys were thinking about it, yes, A has the highest standard deviation. Meaning, where is the mean, guys? Can I assume that mean is somewhere in the middle? Would you agree? And then mean is somewhere in the middle. So between A and B, because many people are thinking A or B, A has the most number away from mean than B. So A has the highest standard deviation. Now, how about the lowest standard deviation? Which one of these three, I mean, now, since A is the highest, between B and C, which one has a lower standard deviation? Ah, which one of them has lowest standard deviation? In fact, lowest standard deviation is C, not B. Why? I intentionally didn't give you any average here. Where's the average? Average would have been somewhere around here. And usually a chunk of them is close to the average. Here, a lot of them are all spread apart. So in fact, C has the lowest standard deviation. In other words, lowest standard deviation implies that they are congregated together. They're congregated together somehow, somewhere, in one place. That's what it means by having lowest standard deviation. Highest standard deviation means what? They are away from Average. Away from the average. That's what it means. So in fact, in this case, the lowest standard deviation, given that all of them has the same number of data and the things of that sort, lowest standard deviation will be on C, and highest standard deviation will be on A, and B happen to be in the middle. Now, and let's go back to the question here. Between these two, which one has the higher standard deviation? B has a higher standard deviation. Why? Because they're more spread apart from the mean, while these are more congregated together in one side. So this one, the first one has a lower standard deviation. And the question is, well, what do you guys get? Standard deviation of the number of cars owned by the resident, B is what, larger? That's correct. That's correct. Are you guys good so far? Yeah? So that's one thing that we wanted to do. And in case of statistics, there's a few things which you have to do. When we are talking about the average, we have to think about the sum. We need to understand a little bit in terms of what it means by standard deviation a little bit. But once again, none of them actually talks about very heavy calculation, or very heavy calculations rather. Is that clear, guys? So in case of statistics, probability, reading data, what do? Stop and take your time and read carefully. Are you guys good so far? So right now we're gonna do second practice. Second practice, all right? The key idea is this. For example, if you got something wrong because you didn't know how to do it, I'm okay with it. But some of you guys, the worst thing is the mistakes. Is that clear, guys? Your worst enemy is the mistakes. So I'd rather you get one wrong because you didn't know. I think that's better for some people than getting it wrong because of the mistakes. Because when your grade is around 500 or 400, then you can say, "Hey, Suki, it was a mistake. How I get it better next time." And then I'll say, "Yeah, that's fine. It's a mistake." But when your grade is near 700 or higher, then every mistake actually counts. So we actually have different approaches here. Do you hear what I'm saying, guys? Yeah? So what I want you to do is this. I want you to go back to the practice section from our Google Classroom. Now I'm looking at CP2, oh no, CP3, I think it was CP3, right? Section 4, and number, I believe it's 26 to do, 30, and then 34 to do, 38. Okay, and once you guys are done, I need you guys to type in your answers onto the Google form. Okay, and this one I'm going to give you 20 minutes. Start now. Alrighty, guys. Time's up. So I need you guys to wrap up and then submit your work. Alrighty, guys. Now, can you shoot me the questions that you want us to look at? Yeah? Alright, I have 27, so 26 to the 28, 37. Ah, okay, okay. Alright, alright. Okay, so I'm looking at 26 through 28 first. Okay, so those are the questions that I'm gonna do first, okay? Alright, guys, let's look at them. Alright. The cylinder has base radius of r and height of h. If the radius is reduced by 30%, okay, how would the volume of the cylinder be changed? Right. So basically, that's what's happening. Now, I'm gonna try to share with you how I could have done this one in a typical way, and then how I would have done this right after. So it says a cylinder and the volume. So we know the volume is equal to a pi r square h. Would you agree? That's the idea. Now, but radius has been reduced by 30%. So I'm looking at pi and zero point 0.7 r square h. Do you see what I have done here, guys? 30% reduction is 70% retention. And how would volume of the cylinder change? So I'm going to call it xv. Then you get to realize that v is equal to pi r square h. That's essentially what we end up getting. So x is equal to 0 0.7 square. And then what is that equal to, guys? 0.49. Would you agree? Since it's 0.49, what does that mean? Decreased by 51%. So that's what we can do. Now, so that's essentially how we could have write down our work. But when I look at this question myself, guess what I'm doing? I leave everything alone. I write down 1 in place of constant, and anything that changed, I just write down the changed value. So for example, in this case, what's happening with the volume? I don't know. I'm going to call it as x, and then pi stays, r is now 0.7 square, and h stays. You know? So then in this case, this one goes to be this way right away. So that's actually my calculation actually looks like this if I have to do that. But this is more typical traditional way of expressing my solution. Okay, that was number 26. Now let's look at number 27. Now number 27 comes from this relatively ugly expression. So now here we have so what they're saying is from here they want you to solve for n sub f. That's basically what it is. Now notice you need to identify where n sub f is at. It's right over here and right over here. It's in the numerator and the denominator. Then your first step would have been multiply them across. So you get 4 n sub f, n sub m is equal to, I'm going to distribute them, n sub e, n sub f, plus n sub e, n sub m. Now, well, once again, where do I see n sub f? Right over here and right over here. So I'm going to bring these two terms to the one side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor out n sub f. That's the key. I got to factor out n sub f. Then I'll end up getting 4 n sub m minus n sub e. That's the first one. And then is equal to n sub e and n sub m. And I just have to divide by that. So n sub f is equal to n sub e, n sub m over 4 times n sub m minus n sub e. So essentially that's what we have, which is choice. E becomes the answer. Is that okay, guys? So it was just simply cross multiplication and isolating n sub f and factor that out. All right, so that was number 27. Let's look at number 28. So in 2013, Animal Conservation reported that there were 1,200 male uh, musk deers capable of breeding 800 female musk deers, and then 800 of them. So 1,200 and 800. What was the effective population of in 2013? So then in this case, when I go back, I just have to make sure I write down the values in the correct places. So here, N sub E is what? Effective population. And N sub F is the what? Female. And the N sub M is the what? Male. So then what I'm doing is I'm just gonna apply this formula as it is. Oops. So here what's gonna be happening is this. It was what? N sub E is equal to 4 times of the product. So 4 times of 1,200 and 800 divided by sum of those two. So 1,200 plus 800. So all I have to do is just multiply these things out, and then see what I'm end up getting. And it becomes 1920, which is choice C. That's all you can do. Yeah, all you have to do rather. All right. So that was number 26 through 28. And I think that's it for the first component. Second one is 35, 36, 37. 35, 6, 7, I guess. All right, guys, let's look at those questions. So what is the maximum value of 3K? Not just K, 3K. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm gonna add what's included, subtract 12, so then negative 4K is greater than or equal to, what do we get, guys? Negative 36. So when I divide by negative 4, then K has to be now less than or equal to 9, because when you divide by a negative number, I have to switch up the signs. But I'm looking for 3K, so what's happening with 3K, guys? 3K is less than or equal to 27. So therefore, maximum possible value is what? 27. Because it has to be less than or equal to 27. That was number 35. Now let's look at the next one. Number 36. Number 36, this one is divided by this. So A and B, AX plus B is the quotient, and then C is the remainder. So what are we going to do? Why don't I do the synthetic? 3, 1, 2. Those are the coefficients of the divisor, the numerator. And then what makes this one equal to 0, which is 1? Then first I realize that 3 comes down. 3 times 1 is what? 3. When I add them up, it becomes 4. 3 times 4 becomes 4. When I add them up, it becomes 6. So technically, you realize the answer is 3 plus 4 plus 6. But simple way which you can do, this basically represents, this is 3x plus 4 and plus 6 over x minus 1. That's the quotient and the remainder. But if you're just looking at the value of a plus b plus c, we end up getting what? 13. That's what we can do here. Yeah? All right, so that was number 36. Let's look at number 37. So Juan's restaurant serves burrito during the lunch and dinner. On a typical day, 25% more burritos are sold during the lunch than during dinner. Okay, so lunch and then dinner. If dinner is certain numbers and then lunch is 25% more, that means 1.25 times something. So if X represents the number of burritos sold during the lunch, oh, X is during the lunch. Then let's call dinner as D. Then you know that lunch would have been 1.25 D. Why? Because lunch sells 25% more than the dinner. So I'm setting this one up a little bit here. And total number of burritos sold in a typical day can be represented by expression AX. What is A? So basically what's happening is this. Let me convert D in terms of X. So X equals 1.25 D. What is D then equal to? I gotta divide by 1.25. Then it's gonna be 1 is here. So I'm looking at 1 divided by 1.25. I get 0.8. So in other words, if lunch is X, dinner is 0.8X. So you want me to combine both of them together? So we get 1.8X. What's A? A is 1.8. All right. So with that, I'm done for today. You guys have a practice exam in about a couple of minutes. You guys did very well. Keep it up. I'm gonna see you next week. All right. Have a great day, guys. Bye.